Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever seen a brand just sort of emerge from the streets almost overnight and totally flip the script on what you thought was possible?
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into a really fascinating case study. It's a brand born from, believe it or not, a clever parody.
Yeah, and it's become this huge cultural label in its own right, really carved out its own space.
Exactly. We've got some incredible sources, insider stuff from Nug Notes, giving us a front row seat to the rise of Highflix.
Highflix, yeah.
It's a name that's pretty much become shorthand now, right? For a whole segment of cannabis culture that just runs on demand. New York, West Coast, all over.
And what's so compelling about Highflix, I think, is how it masterfully blends these different elements. You've got grassroots marketing, real digital ingenuity, and this incredibly distinct brand identity. So our mission for this deep dive is really to understand that journey. How did it carve out such a significant presence, mixing product with lifestyle, a bit of that defiance you mentioned, and ultimately how it captured this cultural zeitgeist that really resonates. It's almost like a blueprint for building an underground brand.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. Highflix didn't just appear out of thin air.
Yeah.
It spun directly off a cultural giant, almost like a mirror image, but in a whole different world. Our sources tell us it started back around, 2017, as a direct parody spin on Netflix.
Yeah, that's the key.
And the name Netflix Flip NY Grit. I mean, that's not just clever wordplay, is it? It feels like a mission statement from day one.
Absolutely. Netflix Flip that tells you curated on-demand cannabis.
Right.
And then NY Grit that anchors it. It's that authentic, kind of raw, resilient New York straight vibe.
It tells you everything you need to know about its attitude, its lineage, instantly.
It absolutely does. That initial branding, it just set this playful, but also like really defiant tone. And central to that identity, you've got the tagline, get right or get less.
Authentic, right.
Still constant. It's not just catchy. It's been there since the beginning. Like this powerful, almost philosophical code for the brand, for its community.
Like an expectation.
Yeah, an expectation, a statement of identity. It's like, if you get it, you're in. If you don't, well,
you get left.
Yeah.
And look, it wasn't just some idea floating around online either.
Yeah, not at all.
Our Nug Note sources, they show this concrete, on-the-ground presence early on. Think about it. Smoke shops in the Bronx, just openly running the Highflix logo.
Wow. Like mini billboards.
Exactly. Mini distribution hubs, brand billboards, all rolled into one. And get this, actual Highflix bags found preserved in resin in Brooklyn, like artifacts.
Preserved in resin. That's amazing.
That's real tangible proof, isn't it, of a traditional market footprint. Deep roots, organic spread, right there in the city's street culture.
And that physical presence, weaving through the Bronx to Brooklyn streets, that's so crucial for understanding how they started.
Why is that so critical, do you think?
Well, it shows that even now, in the super digital age, a brand's foundation often relies on those tangible roots, that organic word-of-mouth thing within the community.
Right.
It builds this authentic street-level connection, a trust and visibility that honestly just doing digital campaigns, it's hard to replicate that. For Highflix, these physical touch points, they weren't just about selling stuff, they were legitimizing it.
Right.
Authenticating its origins before it even scaled up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That kind of real-world immersion, it's something a lot of new brands struggle with, let alone turning that into wider recognition later on.
Okay, so that authenticity is clearly key. But then you hit that classic problem, right? You've got these grassroots origins, this street cred. How do you expand?
Exactly. How do you scale that without losing the core identity, that connection?
So once they had that strong New York footing, what were the strategies? How did Highflix, master the modern hustle and get bigger?
That's the paradox, right? And Highflix tackled it with some pretty remarkable digital stuff. Our sources at Nug Notes, they point to this mastery of what they call social loops.
Social loops. What does that mean?
So it was this really ingenious way to move product discreetly, but at the same time build this loyal, almost exclusive following.
Yeah.
They'd put up those nothing for sale disclaimers on their public Instagram, which is, A classic move. Kind of legally savvy, helps with the platform rules.
Right, seen that before.
But the real magic happened next. They'd funnel anyone interested over to private, invite-only Telegram verification channels.
Ah, okay. So off the public platform.
Exactly. And what's really insightful here is how they almost weaponize the restrictions on cannabis promotion.
Weaponize them. How so?
By moving from public social media to these private verified channels, they didn't just navigate the tricky platform rules, they basically flipped the traditional marketing funnel upside down.
Wow.
They turned a compliance headache into this powerful engine for exclusivity, for creating this sense of being an insider.
Wow.
It's honestly a masterclass in turning a barrier into your brand's most compelling asset. It fostered this community that felt really privileged, to be part of it.
Yeah, I can see that.
So this strategy, it let them expand their reach, but keep that crucial air of exclusivity, which is just a huge draw for consumers looking for something premium, something insider.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Really clever. So they built this sophisticated digital pipeline, super discreet, creates this exclusive club feel.
Mm-hmm.
But, for a brand that's about the product, that clever distribution only takes you so far if the stuff itself isn't top tier, right?
Absolutely. Quality is non-negotiable.
So our sources emphasize Highflix wasn't just about clever logistics. The product had to be genuinely good to keep that demand going, build that loyalty. What did Nug Notes say about the actual cannabis?
Yeah, the product quality was definitely a focus. Nug Notes highlights their flower focus. They were meticulously curating premium strains. They specifically mention one called Arts and Trap. And the description, it's vivid. Candied, gassy, nitrogen-sealed. That paints a picture, right? Carefully grown, carefully preserved product.
Hydrogen sealed, wow.
But beyond just the flower itself, what's really fascinating is the attention they paid to presentation, the packaging. Reviewers consistently gave the packaging like a 9 out of 10. And people started treating the bags like collector's items, like art pieces.
Get out of here, really?
Yeah. And that focus on quality, both the product and its presentation, that's absolutely key.
Why does the packaging becoming collectible matter so much?
Because when packaging goes beyond just holding the product and becomes something people want to keep, it elevates the brand. It's not just a commodity anymore.
Right.
It signals this deeper engagement with the consumer. They value the look, the feel, the whole experience as much as what's inside.
It's the whole ritual.
Exactly. The unboxing, the visual appeal, the identity around it tells you every detail matters. And that fosters this sense of pride in owning it, which just strengthens loyalty like crazy.
Okay, so that attention to detail, flower to packaging clearly hit home, and Highflix quickly moved beyond just selling stuff. It actively cultivated and really became a lifestyle brand.
Totally.
Our sources note that back in 2022, they threw the Highflix House Party Volume 1. That creates this immersive, real-world touchpoint, right? Brings the online community together.
Yeah, bridging that gap.
Then by 2023, they're teasing a new physical spot in the Bronx 24-21 Grand Concourse and doing streetwear collabs.
Right.
This blurring of retail, events, lifestyle, it's not just marketing, is it? It creates this genuinely immersive brand experience. It's way more than just buying something.
Absolutely. That strategic expansion into events, physical spaces, plus those really key streetwear collaborations, it completely transformed Highflix. It became a legitimate cultural label.
Cultural label, I like that.
They weren't just selling cannabis anymore. They were selling an experience, an identity, a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
And that approach, it builds a much deeper, much more loyal community. Because people aren't just buying a product, they're buying into a subculture, a vibe, a statement. It's about cultivating that aspiration, that shared identity. Turns customers into advocates, participants in the brand's story. That's where a brand really cements itself in culture, moving past transactions to real emotional connections.
And the merchandise seems like a huge part of that, turning people into walking billboards, essentially.
Pretty much.
Our sources point to branded stuff like backpacks, mini duffels, noting that the gear spoke as loud as the flower.
Exactly.
It lets people literally wear the brand, wear the message. Creates that visible presence right there on the streets.
Yep. That merch and lifestyle piece is critical for visibility, for cementing that cultural presence. It's more than just product. It's a declaration of allegiance, almost. And what's also fascinating here, which really speaks to their ambition, is the geographical expansion that was happening around the same time.
Oh, yeah. Where do they go?
By 2019-2020, this thing called Members Only Highflix emerged, and it plugged directly into the super competitive Los Angeles drop circuit.
Wow, LA. That's a big move.
Huge move. And it created what Nugnotes calls dual coast credibility.
Dual coast credibility, okay.
So effectively blending those authentic New York roots with that aspirational, trend-setting West Coast reach.
That's smart.
That cross-country appeal, it doesn't just signal market expansion, it shows a significant cultural footprint. It proves they could resonate in different, but still really influential cannabis markets.
Shows they knew how to translate that street cred.
Exactly. Translate it for new, discerning audiences.
Okay, so we've seen Highflix grow locally, digitally, geographically, culturally. They're hitting all the marks. But how did it really cement itself? Go from just a brand to, like, a phenomenon?
Yeah. What was the tipping point?
Our sources point to some big-name rap cosigns.
Okay. The cosigns. Always powerful.
Yeah. DaBaby, for example, apparently led up their 4/20/2025 campaign. There were reels showing him totally embedded in the brand's world.
Like using the product at the parties.
Exactly. Living the Highflix lifestyle. This isn't just advertising like a simple celeb endorsement. This feels like real culture marketing, doesn't it?
It absolutely is. Those kinds of celebrity endorsements, they're incredibly powerful because they don't just promote a product. They actively validate its cultural relevance, its status within that specific scene.
Right. It's like a seal of approval.
Totally. And when a brand like Highflix gets that level of organic recognition, especially from influential figures like DaBaby, it transcends its origins.
How so?
It stops being just a brand. It becomes part of a bigger story, bigger narrative. It evolves into both street mythology and ongoing hustle.
Street mythology. I like that phrase.
These aren't just paid ads in the old school sense. They're cultural affirmations.
Yeah.
They signal that Highflix is genuinely woven into the fabric of the scene, a true signifier of status, of authenticity. It's that organic embedding that, honestly, money alone often just can't buy.
It really ties back to that idea you mentioned earlier, Highflix being more than packs, doesn't it? It's a brand that perfectly mixes packs, parties, and playlists. It's this whole cultural experience, really immersive for the audience.
Yeah, they're curating an entire vibe, right? A whole world, not just selling you something.
But as a brand grows like this, especially one with those deep street origins, how does it keep that authentic edge?
Yeah.
How does it avoid getting diluted or seeming too commercial?
That's the million-dollar question for any brand on this kind of journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think Highflix navigated it by building this really holistic identity. Every single touch point, from the nitrogen-sealed flyer to the collectible packaging, the house parties, the streetwear, and definitely those rap cosigns, it all reinforces that core message, that get right or get left ethos.
Consistent.
Total consistency across every channel, reinforcing the brand's DNA at every single turn. They somehow managed to scale the perception of exclusivity and authenticity, not just scale the distribution itself.
That's a subtle but important difference. Now, look, no deep dive into a street brand like this, especially one with such a unique path, would be complete if we didn't talk about the challenges, the tension.
Definitely, the elephant in the room.
Our sources mentioned the compliance clash. Raids happening in 2023 in the Bronx specifically spotlighted unlicensed sales, which basically confirmed what everyone on the street already knew. Highflix is a trademark name, not an OCM licensed entity. So for listeners maybe not familiar, OCM is the Office of Cannabis Management in New York. This means Highflix operates firmly outside that official regulated system.
Yeah, it exists purely in the traditional unregulated market. And this point is critical. It highlights this fascinating tension, right, between the old school unlicensed markets and this rapidly evolving regulated cannabis landscape.
So what happened when they faced that pressure? Did it hurt the brand?
Well, here's what's really interesting. It had this counterintuitive effect. For many of these NYC legacies, as our source calls them, instead of diminishing the brand's appeal, these raids, this compliance clash, it actually only amplified the brand mystique.
Amplified it? How?
It became part of its rebellious story. It reinforced that defiant get right or get left attitude. It almost solidified its status as this underground legend, a brand that plays by its own rules outside the system.
So wait, getting raided actually made the brand cooler?
In a way, yeah. It leans right into that defiant, almost outlaw mentality.
Wow.
It becomes part of the legend. It creates this really fascinating dynamic around its identity, almost an us versus them narrative that clicks deeply with its core base.
That's an interesting paradox, isn't it? Facing regulatory heat actually boosts its street cred.
This paradox is incredibly significant if you want to understand loyalty in these kinds of markets.
How so?
Well, think about it. In a world that's increasingly driven by regulation, by corporate structures, a brand that thrives by operating on its own terms and even embraces the risks that come with that.
Yeah.
It can gain immense loyalty and cultural capital. It effectively makes you question what legitimacy even means in a market that's still developing.
Yeah.
For its core audience, operating outside the official channels isn't seen as a failing. It's seen as a badge of honor, a commitment to authenticity over compliance. And that's a powerful differentiator in a really crowded space.
Okay, that makes a strange kind of sense.
Sure.
Our sources wrap it all up with this beautiful metaphor. Brings us right back to the beginning, really. A perfect analogy for a brand born from a streaming parody.
Oh, yeah. What is it?
Every bag's an episode. Every drop's a season. Highflix runs on demand.
Wow. That's good.
What does that really mean, though? For the brand's lasting impact, its unique place in culture.
That metaphor just perfectly encapsulates the essence of Highflix, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It speaks to a brand that's dynamic, it's constantly evolving, and it's deeply ingrained in the consumer's lifestyle, just like your favorite streaming service.
Okay.
Every bag's an episode that suggests a curated individual hit, right? An experience. Every drop's a season that implies continuous innovation, a narrative arc for the brand itself. There's always something new coming.
Always anticipating the next season.
Exactly. And Highflix runs on demand. That speaks to its accessibility, how seamlessly it fits into its community's daily life.
Right.
It suggests this continuous, engaging story where every product release, every event, it just contributes to the ongoing season of the brand. Keeps it perpetually relevant, perpetually desired.
Creates that loyalty.
Creates that fiercely loyal audience, always ready for the next drop. It signifies a brand that has truly woven itself into the fabric of its consumers' lives, much like how we binge our favorite shows.
So, connecting this to the bigger picture then, what's the takeaway?
I think if we connect this to the bigger picture, Highflix is way more than just a cannabis brand. It's really a testament to how deep cultural relevance, combined with incredibly smart marketing, both the digital stuff and the grassroots stuff, and a strong, consistent, almost defiant identity, how all that can build a powerful brand, even in a really challenging, unregulated, evolving environment. And it raises this important question, I think, for anyone studying brand building. What truly defines a brand's success in a market that's changing so fast, especially when it operates very deliberately on its own terms against conventional wisdom?
Is it market share?
Yeah.
Or cultural footprint?
Exactly. Highflix offers a pretty compelling answer, I'd say.
Absolutely. This deep dive into Highflix has really shown us how a clever parody, fueled by that genuine NY grit and a clear, unwavering code, can just blossom into this powerful cultural label that genuinely runs on demand for its dedicated following.
Yeah, it's quite a story.
So as you go about your day, maybe consider this. What other brands, maybe operating outside the usual frameworks, maybe even in the shadows, are silently shaping culture around you, redefining what success looks like, just like Highflix? Might be worth keeping an eye out for those subtle signs of emergent influence.